to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hey guys, it's Jay. about to give you some news and information on NXT for my NXT review this week. It's been a crazy week with the Royal Rumble being around, and before I get into the show, I just wanted to say that the NXT brand really did represent this year in the Royal Rumble. In the last few years, we've had NXT call-up, not call-ups per se, but like NXT wrestlers, and for both men and women, make an appearance in the Royal Rumble, which is great. But for the Women's Royal Rumble alone, if you count Jordynne Grace, which so we know that Jordynne Grace has signed a WWE contract. We don't know if she's going to be in NXT or the main roster. But let's pretend that she's in NXT for now, because the last time we saw her in WWE before the Rumble was in NXT. So we're going to count Jordynne Grace for now as an NXT wrestler until we're proven otherwise. Jordynne Grace, so including Jordynne Grace, we had 6, from my count, 6 NXT women wrestlers in the Royal Rumble. Now think about that for a second. That is 1/5 of the entire Rumble. That is 1/5 of the entire Royal Rumble roster. Like the Royal Rumble count. That is huge. And if that doesn't tell you what I've been saying all along for months now. I started this back in, I think, September, starting to do the NXT review. So we're rolling on 5 months, right? And I've been talking up, not that I need to, but I've been talking up the NXT women's division the entire time. And if that isn't confirmation of what I've been saying this entire time, I don't know what is. Out of 30 people, 6 were from NXT. If you count Jordynne Grace. That's big. And for those of you that don't know who they were, we had Roxanne came out at number 3 and ended up being the runner-up to Charlotte Flair, the eventual winner, which to me was amazing. So we had Roxanne, we had Julia being the NXT Women's Champion. Julia, not Gulia, Julia. It reminds me of The Wedding Singer, if anybody knows what that reference means. So we had Julia, the women's champion. We had Stephanie Vaquer, who to me is head and shoulders above everybody. That's just my own personal opinion. So we have Julia, Stephanie Vaquer. We have Lash Legend, who I was sort of surprised to see, but not really. Not 100% surprised. Because she has been making waves, and like even my father was just like, "Wow, she's amazing." It's like the woman's great, and there's so many opportunities for Lash Legend in the main roster to go against. Just think about it, like Nia Jax and Becky, and just eventually when Becky does come back, which we all assume she's going to. Sorry, Matt, but she's going to come back. So anyway, Lash Legend, and then we had Jada Parker, who that to me was the biggest surprise. Didn't have a big impact. Jordynne Grace did make fun of her a little bit. She didn't have a big impact, but that shows me, and again, there was a ton of people they could have chose from. Ton of women they could have chose from for that Rumble. And it shows me that they really like Jada Parker. Which, it could have been Lola, it could have been Sol Rook, it could have been lots of people. But I like Jada, and I'm glad that she got the opportunity for the Rumble just to have some eyes. And I have to tell you, out of 70,000 people at Lucas Oil Stadium, most of them seem to know the NXT wrestlers. So I thought that was really cool too. Even Jada got a bit of a pop, which I think out of all of them, Jada's probably the least known. Maybe that's my own personal opinion. It's not fact. So they all got a big pop. Now, obviously, to me, the biggest pop of the night was Alexa Bliss, but that's just an aside. But I'm really happy that the women of NXT were very well represented, and it just goes to show you the main roster needs call-ups from NXT. And I know, Matt's response, when I had the question one time on his mailbag show, his response was, what are they going to do with them? Well, the thing is that right now they're not doing some stuff with the people that are there. But it was a great Rumble. It wasn't to me, last year was better for the women, but I love the NXT, all the NXT call-ups, and I'm really, it's awesome to see that being represented. So on the men's side, there wasn't any NXT call-ups from the men, unless, again, this is even more of a stretch. Obviously, we had Joe Hendry, which obviously I have to give a shout out to Joe Hendry because he got a huge pop. Again, not the biggest of the night, but it was nice to hear about half of the 70,000 people there singing his song. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, not YouTube, but like TikTok and Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels of people reacting to when Joe Hendry came out, either at Lucas Oil they were reacting, or like at home they were reacting. When I saw this one TikTok video of I think it was TikTok, of this kid, like the father starts to sing the song, and right before, and then the buzzer hits, and then Joe Hendry comes out, and the kid starts flipping out. He goes, "Look at, I said his name, he came out." Awesome. Joe Hendry. Listen, is Joe Hendry as popular as he was earlier in 2024? Probably not. Does that mean he couldn't be used properly in the future? Of course it does. TNA dropped the ball on Joe Hendry. They should have had him win the title longer before he did. I found it very interesting that they mentioned Nick Nemeth, that he won the title from Nick Nemeth, who, I assume most of you know, Nick Nemeth was like Dolph Ziggler for 15 years in WWE. But they used his actual name, Nick Nemeth, and not Dolph Ziggler, which I found fascinating. So anyway, to me, there was a lot of good representation there from TNA, NXT, or was it called NXTNA? They're calling it NXTNA. Which I have to tell you, there's been a lot, like ever since the deal hit with TNA and WWE, there seems to be a lot more crossover. Not just, see, and I think I've told you guys, I don't have the Access channel, so I can't watch Impact on Thursdays. I may or may not just have to suck it up and get to TNA, because there's so many NXT players in TNA now, like crossing over, and vice versa, which we saw with Fandango / the guy, which I'll talk about later. Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. The whole NXTNA thing has really been fun. So anyway, let's talk about the show on Tuesday. We had the February 4th edition of NXT. Came from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. It followed the Royal Rumble, so there was some mentions of the Royal Rumble, obviously, because, again, there was essentially 6 women from NXT that were in the Rumble. Okay, so the first match of the night was Stephanie Vaquer versus JC Jane. I have to tell you, this match was a lot better than I thought it would be. Excuse me. JC Jane really held her own against Stephanie. Stephanie made her look good too. I'm not gonna, obviously we got to give credit where credit's due. This was a really decent match, and of course at the end Stephanie won, and then there was some attempted interference by Jasmine Nix, who attempted to hit Stephanie, but then hit JC Jane by accident. And so there wasn't a disqualification. Then Stephanie hit Jasmine Nix. Still no disqualification. Then Stephanie got the win with her finishing move. So yeah, it was. I can tell you, it was definitely a good match. I really enjoyed it. Then there was a backstage segment with Lash Legend and Jakara. They're confronted by Solrook and Zarya backstage. And Solrook and Zarya, which those two are the weirdest combination to me. And they mentioned it. I mean, it's the two of them are just so opposite. It's even funny. Solrook and Zakaria, they point out that they lost the tag team championship last week, and they lost Lash lost the Royal Rumble. And then Shotzi and Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan come out to kind of stick up for Metaphor, and it led to a match later on. So the next we had a backstage interview with Obafemi. He was giving a glimpse of the tag team match that they're having later on with him and Trick Williams versus A-Town Down Under. And Oba says, even though they were going to be in the ring together, that Fema is hoping to prove that he is the head and shoulders above his competition. So then we have Lexis King. I know I'm kind of going pretty fast today, but I apologize. But it's been a long day and snowing up in the Northeast, so I have a lot to do. I apologize. So then we have Lexis King talking about. So all of a sudden, he wins the Heritage Cup after saying he's trying to do the right thing for months at this point. And now all of a sudden, he comes out and he's total heel again. Like, total heel. And then he starts talking about the Heritage Cup and how he's changing the rules and there's not going to be any more rounds and any more timers and no corner man. It's just going to be straight out match. So basically we're saying the Heritage Cup is just a regular title now, I guess. I'll have to see how that plays out. But the whole... I mean, listen, I'm not big on Heritage Cup matches, but do it the way it's supposed to be done. Anyway, so now he wants to make it a one fall rule. Then we have Fandango, who now calls himself JDC in TNA. So he's now in. He wasn't Fandango a few years ago on NXT. He was Fandango. Now he is Johnny Dango Curtis in TNA, and he then challenges Lexis King next week on February 11th for the Heritage Cup. So next week we're gonna have a match between JDC from TNA and Lexis King. So we'll see how that goes. Now we just don't know it's going to be one fall or Heritage Cup rules. So that'll be interesting. Then we have a bit. They're talking about a show called Wild Cards on I've never seen it before on the CW, and Tony D'Angelo has a role named Jaws in an episode coming up. So they showed a little clip of that. And the family's watching backstage. After they show the clip, they come back. The family's all watching it backstage. D'Angelo says to Stax to pick up the win against Ridge Holland, because he and Ridge have a match coming up next. So then we have Stax versus Ridge Holland. It's a very quick match. Holland pretty much dominated the whole match. Izzy Dane tried to come out and get involved again like she did last week. This time it backfired, and eventually Holland picked up the win. So Ridge Holland wins against Stax Then we had the next match after that was Soruka and Zarya versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. This was as a result of the interaction backstage. Paxley and Dolan they work really well together. I've also noticed Gigi Dolan seems thinner, which healthier. It's a good thing. I'm glad she's getting herself in shape. And I'm not saying she was ever a bigger woman, but she looks better overall. They spent a lot of time. So Paxley and Dolan spent a lot of time kind of isolating Soruka and Zarya. Soruka from Zarya and for most of the match, but eventually Zarya gets in, and just to do Zarya things, she just starts beating the crap out of everybody, and eventually Soruka hits the cutter that she does. I forgot the name of it, which is an amazing. It's a backflip cutter that she does off the corner. Soul Snatcher, right? Soul Snatcher, and thank you for that. and then Zarya and Soruka get the win. So it was a good match. I really liked that match too. Again, it's a women's match, so generally they're pretty good. Then we have a backstage interview with Trick, and he's clearly upset about not being involved in the NXT Championship triple threat match, which is coming up at Vengeance Day on the 15th of February. He had some colorful words for A-Town Down Under. And for Femi, he promises that he will be coming for him soon enough. So, don't forget we have the main event tag team match between Trick and Oba versus A-Town Down Under, in case I failed to mention that. Then we have the NXT Championship Vengeance Day Summit, they're billing it as. First, Bayley comes out, followed by Roxanne, and then Julia comes, and they have a verbal war, and Julia said she's heard enough. She comes out to let them know that she runs the whole thing. And enter the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner. So now you have in the ring, you've got, Charlotte, to jump the gun. In the ring, you have Bayley, Julia, and Roxanne, and then Charlotte comes out, not as dressed as the Queen, per se, but just a regular attire. And she said, just as she did on the February 3rd edition of Raw, she lets them know that she could be challenging for this title too. Now, the last time she won the Rumble, she challenged Rhea Ripley, who was at the time the NXT champion. Do I think that this is a possibility that this time that she's going to challenge Julia or whoever is the champion at WrestleMania for the title? No. No, I don't. For a couple reasons. Number one, I think Charlotte's going against Tiffany. So during the Royal Rumble on Saturday night, me and a bunch of the guys, and if you're around, guys and gals, we had a really good time with the Discord chat that night. Eventually, I had to put the Discord chat down because the Discord chat was jumping ahead of the Royal Rumble. And so I was seeing in the Discord chat who was coming out before the buzzer went off. So I didn't want the surprise to be ruined, even though it was only a couple seconds. But I was trying to explain, once Charlotte won the Rumble, I was trying to explain to everybody in Discord chat, Charlotte's going against Tiffany. I think Matt has said the same thing. Charlotte's going against Tiffany. And if he doesn't, listen, if she doesn't, I am proven wrong. I take no bets. I'm not a betting person, but I am proven wrong. But I can't see her going against Rhea again. Unless they try to build up the whole best of three now, which to me the best of three, it's not it wasn't like CM Punk and Drew McIntyre last year. To me, best of three is month by month by month. This is years ago, then 2 years ago, and then now it's that seems way too much space to call it a best of three. To be honest, I feel like Charlotte's going to go against Tiffany. I feel like Tiffany is going to win. I feel like Charlotte is going to put Tiffany over. I don't know for a fact that that's going to happen, but I think that would be awesome. And you all know how much I think Tiffany's the best, so that's just a whole me thing. Anyway, so then Cora Jade comes in and she starts just beating the crap out of everybody with a kendo stick. Including, she went after Roxanne, too. So that friendship looks kind of broken a bit, apparently. And you wouldn't try to hit one of your best friends with a kendo stick, I'm guessing. But at the end of the segment, it ends with Jade holding up the NXT Women's Championship. So we'll see how that goes. Next we have Ethan Page and Javon Evans backstage, and Ava with 4 security guards. She's trying to facilitate a talk between Ethan Page and Javon Evans, although Javon's still wired shut, which it's been a long time now. But I don't know how that goes. General manager notes that she wanted to suspend Javon Evans, but Page insisted on having a match instead, and Ava agrees to the match at Vengeance Day, but only if Javon Evans can get medically cleared. So, see what happens. Next match is Kalani Jordan versus Carmen Petrovich. As the match goes on, Jada Parker comes out, makes her presence felt, and she actually joins the commentary team, although she sat in front of the commentary booth. Like, she wasn't sitting with them, she sat in front of them with the headset on. Anyway, Kalani Jordan and Carmen are able to focus on each other until Parker pokes at Jordan a little bit more, like not actually poke, but like, she's like jabbing, like giving her jabs. Eventually Jordan picks up the submission victory. So what happened was Kalani Jordan starts like poking back at Jada, hits 2 split-legged moonsaults, and could have easily pinned Carmen Petrovich, but ends up putting her in a cross-faced chicken wing. Era Bob Backlund. Like that kind of cross-faced chicken wing. And gets the submission win, but then she continues to do it to Carmen Petrovich, and the referee then reverses the decision, which I think is stupid, by the way. The referee reversed his decision and gave the match by disqualification to Carmen Petrovich, which I don't understand how the ref can do that. Maybe it's just me, but the match is over. Like, if that's the case, then you'd have people being disqualified all the time for after-match shenanigans. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's just my own personal opinion, though. Later on, we got Stephanie McCurry in the parking lot being interviewed about her upcoming match at Vengeance Day. Excuse me. She sends a warning to Fallon Henley and the rest of Fatal Influence, and they don't. So okay, this was interesting. I love the way they do these things. By the way, like I just have to explain this. So Stephanie is doing an interview, and the interviewer, I'm guessing it's. I hope it doesn't matter. The interviewer is like off camera, so you don't actually see somebody talking to her. She's just talking kind of off camera. As she's talking about her match at Vengeance Day against Fallon Henley, you see on the left side of her, you see Lola Vice just walking by. And it's just enough to notice her. By the way, they're doing this a lot more on Raw and SmackDown, having background people during interviews in the backstage area. But this was interesting. So yeah, Lola Vice comes by and just kind of they kind of like glance at each other, but don't say anything. Like and Lola doesn't even stop her saying, and just walks by. So that'll be Lola Vice and Stephanie. That will be a great interaction. Again, I still think they're ending up with Julie and Stephanie at Stand and Deliver in April, but we have some time for that. Okay. Backstage, Bayley says she wants Cora Jade in a match, so that's going to happen on the February 11th NXT episode. So next week, Bayley will be facing Cora Jade. Now that should be really good. Last match of the night is Obafemi and Trick Williams versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. This was a really good match. Obviously, there was a lot of tension between Trick and Oba. But A-Town Down Under is just so damn entertaining. Like, when they're in their element, I think they're kind of thriving a bit more because they can be more themselves in NXT, whereas the main roster, There's just so much going on. But A-Town Down Under was great. And at the end of the match, Eddy Thorpe came out and dished out some lashings with a leather strap on Trick Williams again. With the referee turned, and then A-Town Down Under gets the win as a result. A-Town Down Under then fled the ring with Femi separately, who wasn't really concerned about Williams. And then we had, at the end of it, we had Eddy Thorpe beating the crap out of Trick Williams with a strap. So obviously they seem to be going towards a strap match between Eddy and Trick Williams at some point. So the question is, will it be a standard strap match like they had last year with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre? We had to touch the four corners, or will it be just I'm strapped to you and it's a match and we're going to fight each other? And then it's a standard match, so we'll have to see how that goes. But overall, I thought it was a decent episode. I think the match that wasn't as good as the other ones was probably Kalani and Carmen Petrovic, although the end was really good with Kalani just crossface chicken winging her. Like, she basically was like full Bob Backlund. Like back in the 90s when Bob Backlund came back and won the title. Like, she pretty much went full Bob Backlund on crossface chicken wing on Carmen Petrovic. And of course there's also this whole overarching storyline about that Ashanti the Adonis, who was out with Carmen Petrovic as well, is eventually going to leave or just be stupid. Again, Carmen at some point. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So, anyway, that's what happened. And I think it was, like I said, overall, I think it was a really good episode. In case you all forgot, we have free versions of this show. You don't have to listen to the commercials on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have the free version of Apple and Spotify, which also, and I found out the other day, if you get the free version on Spotify, apparently it links to Patreon. I thought that's what Matt said. Matt, if I'm wrong, let me know. And then, of course, we have Patreon. And there's all different levels of Patreon. And remember, too, the Patreon, if you're a member of Patreon, it gets you access to the Discord chat. And I do try to jump into the Discord chat as much as I can. A lot of my guys there. We got DJ Kuzmo. We got all kinds of guys in there. They just love talking about what's going on, having a good time. And also too, like, you know, we also kind of jump in with information during the week. Like if I have a thought, or if DJ Kuzmo has a thought, or somebody else has a thought, they'll pop it into the Discord chat, and you'll get it. And then all of a sudden you're kind of talking a little about wrestling in the middle of the week, without even a wrestling show going on. But it's really fun to listen or to watch Raw, SmackDown, PLEs, whatever, with the Discord chat going, because it's kind of like if you're sitting by yourself watching it at home, it's kind of like watching it with buddies. So just something to think about. But that's only if you're a Patreon member. So find out about that. If not, I will talk to you soon, and we'll do the review for February 11th next week. And from what I can see, it's also again at the Performance Center next week as well. I think the next time they're on the road was in Cincinnati, the last week of February. So for now, they're still in the Performance Center. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.